Hello, HeroClix Land. Welcome back to Talking Clicks, where we talk clicks. I am your host, as always, Wes Poole. And in the multiverse of the
So,
MCU, there are multiple Wes's out there, and I'd like to introduce you to my variant, Wes Summers.
hi, hello everyone.
So I am a couple years older than you, so technically I am the original and you're the variant.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair, and it's your show. You get to be the original if you want to be.
There you go. Uh, so Wes, well, yeah, I'll start with the community questions. I like to start with
Sure.
that, and then kind of go into my thing. I asked the community, said I was going to be talking to you tonight, and had a couple of questions from the community. McConnell Lamar asks Wes, and you can guess which one I'm talking about. You had to have one. You have had some pretty unique builds: Exodus, Hall of Armors, etc. How do you approach team building?
Um, the very first thing that I always look for is a unique effect. I,
Mm-hmm.
I I want to find text on a figure that I can't find anywhere else.
Right.
Um, and then I say, okay, this is something different. This is something that not everybody else is going to be running. Um, and it's new, it's fresh, and I love that energy. I also just love throwing things at people that they've never seen before. If they look at my team and they have to go, I have to read all your cards because I have no idea what any of this does. That's fantastic. That's great. Not only for I think me as a from like a strategy perspective because I know what I can do and I probably know what they can do because they're probably playing a variant of what everybody else is playing. Um, but because I know what my team can do and I know what their team can do, they might know what their team can do, but they probably don't know what my team can do.
Right.
Which always puts me at a I think a little bit of an advantage. Wes, you played the Fantastic Four a bit, right? Didn't you play Fantastic Four?
No.
Okay, I thought you did. I'm sorry.
I've been a diehard Deadpool fan for a while, and
Gotcha, gotcha.
the you
What
might be
did
thinking
you
of
play at
the time dilation
PJ?
Spider-Man that I debuted and have been obsessed with. That a lot of people hate.
What did you play at? Because you were at PJ's event whenever it was in that big hall,
Right.
right?
That was the
What did you?
time dilation Spider-Man and a
That's what it
whole
was.
army of Lokis.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. So to answer the question, I look for unique effects,
Right.
and then I start piecing together the team sort of around those unique effects. I look at the unique effect. I say, okay, it does this really, really well. What does it lack? Where is it weak? And can I use the rest of the points to sort of fill in that weakness?
Excellent. Um, McConnell also wants to know what figures do you find the most intriguing from the following sets: Spider Verse, Collector's Trove, and Black Panther. What do you find most intriguing?
Um, Spider Verse, uh, the Legacy Madam Web, I think is a very interesting figure, and should be higher on the secondary market than what it is.
Oh, I did not. I didn't
Um,
expect that one.
she's those last two clicks, friend. The wording on them is not this like it doesn't say like once per turn or once per game. Whenever this click is revealed, it's every time the click is revealed.
Right.
So you can just sit there if you have an effective way of like damaging her and healing her every turn. That's very strong. The biggest enemy is obviously the bloodstone, but if you can find the solution to that, like her damage, her dice replacement is second to none. And I mean that like in the history of HeroClix, outside of needing range of line of fire, which things like DJ Doom and Trelane didn't need to have. Outside of that language, just the quantity that she could possibly generate is so much higher than anybody else.
I actually
So
have
her,
that figure. I'm just trying to hunt down the card.
okay, it's definitely something. Plus, she's Herald keyworded on the card, so she's definitely something that I would look at. Again, a very unique effect. Um, the Gauntlet Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
I feel is sort of in the vein of like Beetlejuice, in the vein of Kong, in the sense that they're trying to forcibly simplify and bring things down. And those figures, Beetlejuice, Kong, and the Chase Spidey, the Gauntlet Spidey, are all three very good at doing that, right? Because if you think about where the meta was, a year ago, even just before, because I think Kong made his first big splash with Lucas at Adepticon last year. Um, I think that if you look, 12 months ago at where teams were versus where they are now, we've seen a dramatic shrinkage from the 10, 12 figure teams that sometimes were fielded in at this time in 2024. So that figure I think plays into that theme and is going to be great. And then obviously the spot in Spider-Man I think is going to be out there.
Yeah.
Right. We it's not a question of if, it's how many and how often.
I'm working hard on a team with him.
Everybody is, friend. Everybody is. So especially because I do think that with the changes to the comp, Spot did get a little bit stronger. And so I'm curious if somebody can crack the code and really figure out how to abuse the first turn immunity ruling with Spot.
So you're
Because
you're
now
referring
if you
to the first turn immunity that is now, as long as you know back in your starting area, you're still immune, correct?
Mhm. Right,
So
absolutely.
how does that affect spot in making him stronger?
Because if you can figure out how to get him all the way down and back again, which on 16 squares is not that difficult. If you can get him all the way down and back again, return him to the starting area, you can deploy the marker like proactively on your first turn while they're still in immunity,
Mm-hmm.
and force them to come closer to get or at least break formation to get away from the marker. And if they don't, you get to use all four of your flurry attacks because he has flurry and then flurry is free.
Right.
If they just sit there, he doesn't have to move. He can just sit there and flurry, having already deployed his marker on the previous turn.
That's an interesting take I hadn't thought about yet. I assumed it was beginning of the game to deploy the spots, so I hadn't thought about deploying it after the fact. That's interesting.
So I guess what I'm saying is
No, I get
he
it.
he
I
he
hadn't thought about that angle yet.
yeah. It's going to be interesting. I don't know that it's good. It's possible, but I don't know that it's good. It hates Beetlejuice. I'll say that. Like if you look at like the Champion Clicks Open from this past weekend, it definitely hates Beetlejuice. Does not want to see a main force Beetlejuice at all. That would be a nightmare. Um, so and I think uh, main force Beetlejuice is something else that we're going to see more of. But let me finish answering Lamar's
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
McConnell's question. I'm sorry. Um, that was Collector's Trove. Black Panther and Spider Verse. I did Spider Verse.
You didn't do Collector's
Collector's
Trove yet.
Trove. Um, favorite things from Collector's Trove. I love a good tent pole. Oh, one more thing I need to talk about in Spider Verse. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Canon event. Canon event is like S class in my opinion, and will absolutely disrupt things. So I'm really curious as to see the impact that particular one shot's going to have, because it's going to be up there. Collector's Trove, Rivalry Fortify, just the one shots in general, I think are going to have, without a doubt, the biggest impact. The Bloodstone, already mentioned it, the Universal Weapon, those things are going to have tremendous impacts. As far as figures go, what's going to have the most impact is probably just the Collector. Probably just the Ultra Chase Collector is probably going to see just a metric lot of play. It's probably the most playable Ultra Chase since Mephisto, I would say. He's probably getting more play since Mephisto. And then like he's right up there with Ultra Chase Thanos, Ultra Chase Mephisto, and Ultra Chase Collector. Like they're all three right there in like the most playable of the Ultra Chases. Say again?
Bigger than Kevin?
Kevin. Kevin was on both teams in the finals, wasn't he? In Florida. Was he on both teams or just one?
I think one for sure. I wasn't able to follow as closely as I wanted to this weekend.
Gotcha. My dog may make a guest appearance. He's wanting attention. So Kevin is a little bit more niche, right? Because he's a support figure. Mm-hmm. Now he's an S-class support figure for Marvel characters, right?
Right.
And I think, I don't know. I do know that there's a lot more Kevins in the field now that Kevin's been flooded. And so that's probably allowed a little bit more experimentation with that, which I like, which I love to see. I think this game is horribly undertested. So I love to see people out there going and doing more. Is Kevin going to have a bigger impact than Collector, Mephisto, or Thanos? I don't think so. If
he's
only
been out for a minute, so there's going to be a recency bias on that too.
I would say that my number one reason for saying that is purely because of availability. Purely because of the availability problems. Yeah. I think that if the population as a whole had 2 full years to experiment and play with their local Kevin, hey, it would probably be just a step or two beyond, because we're only just now seeing Kevin really tick into his prime, right? Like right. It's just now really in the past 5 months, since Worlds, go figure, whenever he was handed out like candy, that Kevin has really seen any play. And that's sad because we're at the end of his life cycle. He's got another 6 months to go. And so we're going to see what he does over the next 6 months. But he's competing now with things like the Collector, and others. So it's a difficult slot to fill. Although there's no reason why you couldn't play two Ultra Chases on your team and right. Go Collector and Kevin.
Right. So what about Black Panther?
Black Panther. I absolutely love what Black Panther did with terrain. I think it by far has had the terrain markers have been way more impactful and way more ubiquitous than they have been previously. Just because everybody's playing a herb, because why wouldn't you? Everybody's playing a vibranium, because why wouldn't you? Oh, we have 2 vibranium now? Okay. Oh, we have Mind Pool. We can make 3 vibranium? That's fun. I think just overall, I've really enjoyed what Black Panther did just as a set design with their terrain. Individual figures that really stand out to me in Black Panther. Of course, I played Ramunda. Ramunda makes a huge, uh, a number one on my list. Um, by the Black Panther Prime obviously is an inclusion on that list. Hadariel, an outstanding figure, and a figure that we're really waiting to see, if she's going to be the queen that we all thought she was, right? Hadariel's performance has not been as dominating as initially predicted. I don't know how many made it in top 8 this past weekend, but I mean, I imagine 1 or 2 did. I don't think there were any in top 4.
Now, is that a availability issue, or are people just expecting to see her and are building against it?
Probably a combination of both, right? Anytime a figure reaches $300, $250 or north, that there will absolutely be a lag there. I am receiving a phone call. I'm sorry. I need 1 moment.
I'll pause it and go.
Okay. So we were talking about Black Panther and Hadari.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely part of its availability. Not everybody can afford to spend $300 on a figure. I've spent less than $300 on whole teams before, right? So $300 is a big ask for anyone in this economy. That being said, if the big brain meta people have not said this is the definitive Hadari build, right? This is the way, the truth with her. Nothing can stop this. Right. I don't know that it's going to happen at right now. Maybe a new set comes out, maybe a new support piece or a new secondary attacker, something that complements her well. Maybe that happens, but right now, we just haven't seen the build. And Adepticon's, what, next week after next, and it could be, debuted there, and I could eat crow, and if I do, great. But it is what it is right now,
Yeah. McConnell's last question was, if you could change 3 things about HeroClix, what would they be? Well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, I read that question. I'm like, how the heck do I answer that? Okay. So I think it's important to talk about what HeroClix does well, and then sort of it's not so much about what I wish they would do differently. It's that where I wish they would be.
Cheaper.
HeroClix does an outstanding job of managing its licenses. It protects those licenses very fiercely. It follow like this is a unique game because of the licenses that it has, and I think that those are important. Mm-hmm. It does it does an outstanding job in balancing all the different things that have to be balanced in a game like this. With how complicated the design is on this game, the fact that we have anywhere near a balanced meta at all is a freaking miracle, right? Like it's been way worse than where it is right now in previous iterations, and our meta is extremely healthy right now, and that's just a tip of the hat to Brian Galley and others who have just done an outstanding job in development and design over the years. So there are tons of wins to be celebrated with HeroClix. If I were to pick things that I just wish were a little bit different, I just wish the game were more popular, right? Yeah. Just right there. That's number one. I wish the game were more popular. I wish that this had the Pokemon or the Yu-Gi-Oh or the Magic, whatever. Pick your fandom. and I'm doing what I can as a local organizer to try to, spread the word locally. I wish I were more effective at communicating a lot across, vaster platforms, and how unique and how special this game is, and how unique and special this community is. Those messages, I think, are so incredibly important when talking about this game. You and I, as ambassadors, we have to represent that well, right? We have to represent ourselves, the community, and others. And it's important that we build up our local scenes, because uh, uh, I number two thing I would change. Number two thing I would change. Uh, and this is probably going to get me hate mail. I don't care. I, I think that the biggest mistake that tournament organizers or local judges make, um, is thinking that every week has to be a new and different format. I don't believe that if if you have a new person who's been playing the game 2 or 3 years or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of borrowing things, which not everybody likes to do, I don't believe that you can build skills by changing the rules of the format and every single week. I don't think that if I were a new HeroClix player and I was asking my judge, hey, what do I need to buy? I'm looking to make purchases. What do I need to buy? And we have this 700-point Golden Age game coming up in 2 weeks, right? I don't think that puts them in a healthy position. I don't.
To I 100% agree with you. At the same time, they're to a point. I recently recruited some new players in my area, and I've been trying to build them up in our venue every week. And they just started with Black Panther, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
their inventory is very very small. So what I have been doing in my weekly events is sculpting the event around what they have and what their skill set is. So instead of them grabbing the same five figures every week, I'm trying to encourage them to grab different figures from what they have to experience different parts of the game. This weekend, we're going to introduce them to Pulp for the first time
Nice.
because
Pulp's a great format for new
yeah,
people.
because they grabbed their. This one guy has a super rare Wong from Next Phase, and he is obsessed with it. And I want him to play something else. So,
Sure. Sure.
um,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
put Beetlejuice on the main force and he'll play something else, because he
Well,
won't have a
that has
choice.
been a house rule that Beetlejuice is banned unless we are preparing for an event for a major tournament.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I don't even want these guys having to worry about is this free or is this free? Can I do this or can I do that? It's too confusing and too frustrating for them. And as a veteran player, which is weird to say that I'm a veteran player, but the other veteran players in the group will be very frustrated having to explain the same thing over and over and over again. Because Beetlejuice is, while simplistic, is very complicated for a new player.
Yeah. A single sentence of no other players can take free actions, or no other figures can take free actions. The sentence is simple.
Yeah,
The implications are broad ranging,
yeah,
right? And that's what you find out is, while the game text isn't complicated, the impact of that game text is severe.
mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I understand what you're saying. Um,
But I don't disagree with you though.
so
I
I
think it's great to uh, like a lot of players when they first start, they start with one team and they play that team over and over again until they have it flat. Like they know it backwards and forwards. So that's great. I think my players are unique in that they they're coming back to the game more or less. Like they have some
Mm,
background, so they're not starting out from completely scratch. So I'm able to
that's good.
do things with
That's
them
good.
that I wouldn't do with a brand new player.
Yeah, and that's definitely a benefit. So I started my venue, Gear Gaming in Birmingham. We started about 2.5 years ago. We're approaching 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started with just me and one other guy, right? And now our play group has really exploded out. We have a second venue. There are probably, if every HeroClix player in the Birmingham region showed up, there would probably be 25 to 30 of us.
Wow.
Now, schedules never allow for that to happen. My Thursday night gear gaming may have 6 of those 30, right? Sometimes there'll be 8, sometimes there'll be 12, sometimes, we'll get up as high as, 15 or whatever. Just depending on what's going on that night. But every single one of them, except for 2, 3, maybe, have been really playing HeroClix for 2 years or less, 3 years or less.
Mm-hmm.
With several of them, again, just in the same situation you're in the past several months. One of them just opened his, they're just getting their first bricks ever, that sort of thing.
Right.
Um, which I'm thankful for WizKids uh, redesigning. Speaking of buying product, redesigning and pulp uh, the commons and rares to really be more pulp focused. It is definitely noticeable in the last 3 sets, the Black Panther, Collector's Trove, and Spider-Man, the tremendous effort that they've gone to make the commons and uncommons and rares more playable. And that's good for the game. That's good for my newbies. That's good for everyone. And I love to see that. And I wanted to say that earlier, but you just reminded me of it whenever you mentioned pulp earlier. But yeah, I just, I don't know. I don't think that the silly and fun formats, and it doesn't sound like you're playing, the super crazy stuff, but
No.
people can get pretty, out there with their formats, and that's great and that's wonderful. But what about the guy who just wants to show up?
Right.
Right? Or the guy who's learning for the first time, who doesn't have the collection, right? We don't grow the game by having our nightly or our weekly events feel exclusive. That
Right.
having an open door policy where anybody could just sit down and go grab a starter, and then if you grab a starter pack of HeroClix, you're probably going to be able to sit down and play on a Thursday night at Gear Gaming, right?
Right.
And that's the openness that I've really tried to embrace, and it's worked out for us so far. We've been pretty positive in that.
What would be your third thing for McConnell's question?
Oh, he had to ask for 3. Um,
just say make it cheaper.
Golly, cheaper. Yeah, it's an expensive game.
Yeah.
It's an expensive game. I
I
wish that we had. I wish that we had. Um, Better access to chase boosters. How about that? I wish there were more chase boosters. I'm fine with the price point of the chase booster. I'm fine with them being like relatively exclusive. We still need more. Like my store, because of the whole debacle with Alliance and the different distributors, we didn't get any Collector's Trove chase boosters at all. And it's
uh,
not looking like we're going to be able to.
I don't think we did either.
And that's, that it's a frustrating thing to be like, hey, I will give you money for product and then not be able to get the product
That's
just
actually
because of a
that's actually
third
Matt
party thing.
Greet. Like I'm sorry, but your name Matt Chunos.
Call him Matty
Asked,
G.
yeah, he's
Just
asked
Matty
what your
G.
thought was on chase boosters. So There you go.
Yeah, no, I think they're awesome. I'll let you out, big boy. You want to go? Okay. Um, I think that the concept is awesome. I love the exclusive product. I love the fact that they're using it to get in just a couple of extra things there that they wish they could have. Otherwise, I think they're very meta viable. I think they're great cheap ways to add value to your collection. Love it. Wish there were more of them.
Well,
I feel like there's a little bit of a product shortage there, and opportunity that, golly, I just wish there were more of them.
what about the pogs? Like a lot of people say that there shouldn't be anything in the chase booster that's exclusive to the chase booster that you can't get in a standard booster brick.
I mean, that argument really doesn't make sense to me, because I think over the years there has always been um, some exclusive products out there
Mm-hmm.
that you can't get in boosters. I don't know why the requirement that suddenly, oh well, everything must come from the booster. I, when has that ever been a thing? um, so that doesn't necessarily bother me. What bothers me more is us as HeroClix players. We tend to be hoarders. We don't like to let stuff go. And so I know that there have been a lot more chase boosters out there that the contents of them never see the secondary market.
Hmm.
You know, and so there is a genuine um, lack of supply. If I wanted to go search for the manifold pog, I could go to eBay right now, might find one, might find two, but that's gonna be it. Regardless of price point. I don't know. I mean, price it wherever you want to price it, but finding them is a challenge. Now that's great for injecting value. That's great for people feeling like they're getting more out of their collection. Whatever it is, whatever. I don't like uh, not being able to find the product that I want to get. That makes me feel bad.
Right. Hmm. That's a unique perspective I hadn't heard before. Um,
Well, buckle up. That's what this is going to be.
yeah. Matt also asked, what would you have played at the CCO?
Probably, if not John Michael's team, uh, the Aquanex,
Oh, yeah.
Zala, that team I thought was incredibly impressive and probably the best in the format. I think. I think that if John Michael had been able to make it to champion clicks, he could have ran away with it. I think he could have ran away with it, and he'll probably hate me for putting that much onus on him and that much pressure on him. But he's been playing that team long enough, and he is skilled enough with that squad that he could have just went and have been fine. Um, Other than that, if I were going to go to Champion Clicks Open, I probably would have played Assassins. I think Assassins are very well positioned right now.
Would Wolverine Pool be on that team?
Very possibly. I have tested Wolverine Pool. I like Wolverine Pool a lot.
He's one that I've been desperately trying to find where he fits. And every time I start with, okay, I'm going to build this with Wolverine Pool and this piece and build around that. And somewhere along the building process, Wolverine Pool kind of falls away. That's something that's something else better.
Well, I mean, the spots are competitive, and 50 or 75 points is a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but what I do like about Wolverine Pool is that he works very, very well with Ares. And you should Ares, Pin Particles, Wolverine Pool is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a freaking problem, man. And if you're not, if you don't know how to, and I think one showed up this past weekend at Champion Clicks. Uh, but I'm a believer in Wolverine Pool.
I knew I liked you, Wes. Matt asked, and you kind of talked about this already, so I don't know if you want to add more to your answer on this, but your thoughts on how wide open the meta is.
It's very. Um, it's my philosophy is that if you find what you want to play it over and over and over and over again, and learn it, you can show up to any event on any given day, and with just a little bit of dice luck, you're there.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're top four. Suddenly you're in the finals versus whoever, right? And you may or may not make it. The dice will fall where they fall. But you can't you can't just play what everybody else plays right now and hope that it and so sorry about that, and hope that it uh, pans out for you, because you this may come as a shock to you, Wes, but you are not Isaac,
Right.
nor am I. Right?
I talk a lot to Miles Kane, and the man is a certified genius. He is a mad scientist of HeroClix. But when he and I team build together, as great as his ideas are, and they work great for him and some other people, they don't work for me. My play style just
Yeah.
doesn't mesh well with his build style, um, and that's no fault on me. It's no fault on him. We're just different. Um, that's one of the things I like you said about the meta now. You don't have to play Hadari and Colossus on every team.
No, no, because Hadarian Colossus was fielded by some of the best in the world, and it didn't do the thing.
Right.
Right. So it's really a combination of your own preparedness, your own confidence, your own, you know, your own level of work and commitment, versus luck and how well you're managing that luck. Right.
Right. Matt's final question was, where should Worlds be held, and should all big events still be east of the Mississippi?
Absolutely not. I listen. Uh, for so long, HeroClix has been. I'm speaking as an East Coaster, right? I live in Alabama. That's um, it's incredibly important that we get out to Texas, that we get out to Las Vegas, California. What Alyssa McNeil and the Majestics people are doing with the Thundering Games, the Clicks League West. That is such a great system, and she is doing just an absolutely outstanding job,
Mm-hmm.
and doing the kinds of things that needs to be done in HeroClix. And David Newmark has done an outstanding job in getting the IC regionals out all over the country and world. Um, Howard Brock has always done a tremendous job of making sure that wherever you are, wherever you go, you can find a Winamap, and he doesn't care where you're at. You can have a Winamap kit. Just go to rock.ionsweet.com and he'll get you one. Um, I do think that the bigger events need to be um, in places that are easily accessible, that are family oriented. I do think that that's important. I and I think that safety is important. They have to consider, like I love Memphis. I do. It's a great town. Graceland is a little rough. It just is, right?
Yeah, I know
And
that that's
and
one of the things that Ryan Redmond loves about championship clicks. Uh, he and his family take a whole family vacation down there,
yeah,
and
and
they go
that's
to
awesome,
Disney and all that
right?
stuff.
Yeah, the fact that the family can go do other things while dad plays with his little plastic toys is the best, right? Because
Right.
everybody wins. And it's a lot easier of a sales pitch. Um, all that being said, I'm going to be a supporter of the HeroClix World Championship no matter what city it's in. As long as I can fiscally and financially get there, I'm going to make it happen. Um, uh, are there places that I wish it were rather than Memphis? Sure, I would love to see it, in a major metropolitan area that international players could have really easy access to without having to make two or three hops. That has a broad and diverse culture, where if my partner wanted to come play HeroClix with me, where he would feel a little bit safer. Those things, all those things matter to me, right? And I think are critical whenever choosing a location for such a prestigious event.
Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our community questions. Um, so, Wes, I have consulted with Kevin, Kevin, and
Mm-hmm,
he
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
has put together a series of questions that are designed to get to the heart and soul of the HeroClix player, to really get the
Okay,
community in your head. Are you brave enough to answer these questions?
absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I usually start with a question about tell everybody something they don't already know about you, but I'm going to vary from that on this one and tell you something that you don't know about you.
Okay.
You are a very major part of the reason that I am here and playing clicks now. Um, I met you, God, was it 3 years ago?
I think so, friend.
Yeah. At the Tilted Classic, PJ's annual event. And it was my very first event outside my local venue. And
Yeah,
I,
that's what I asked you about, right? That's where you
yep,
played your. Yeah, yeah.
yep. And I was scared shitless. Like I was, for being 40 years old and a combat veteran, I was ready to piss my pants. Like I was so nervous. And you were one of the very first people that I met outside of my local group. Um, and for being a huge event, my very first time, you were extremely warm and welcoming and made me feel comfortable. Um, and it really had a huge impact on going forward because I've been to other events since then. And if those had been my first encounter with the Heroes community, I probably would not have stayed with it. But you were such a nice, friendly, warm person to a very new player, and it really impacted my decision to stay in the game past that one event. So thank you very much.
Well, well, Wes. Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm going to try not to cry on your podcast. That would be sad. Um, Thank you. Listen, being an ambassador to the game is important. Um, I think the way that we behave with each other is is absolutely what's was either going to make or break this at the end. And I'm glad that I had a positive impact. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I said. I was doing my own thing. But friend, if I had a positive impact on you, thank you, and I'm glad that you're here.
I honestly can't tell you exactly like a specific thing you said, but it was just that general welcoming presence of. I told you it was my first event, and you basically took me by the hand and said, "Hey, if you need anything, talk to this guy. If you need this, talk to this guy." Um, at that event, besides you, I've met like three other people that I'm still very good friends with today. But I probably wouldn't even talk to them if I hadn't met you initially, and you gave me that just that warm, friendly greeting to a very scared new player. So it was a
Well,
huge and big thing for me.
Wes, if you ever need anything, you know how to reach me.
All
But
right.
thank you. Thank you.
So moving on, what is the best sandwich?
Uh, I am a big fan of a Cuban. I
Oh,
love a Cuban sandwich. Best sandwich. I mean, does a cheeseburger count? Is a cheeseburger? Yes, a cheeseburger is a
yep.
sandwich. I amend my previous statement. Give me a cheeseburger.
Okay, now that that's a pretty broad sandwich. Are you talking just a patty with cheese? Are you talking lettuce, tomato, bacon, onion?
I'm a I'm a simple man.
Okay.
My okay. I'll give you my Five Guys order. Let me say it that way. Go to Five Guys. I'm going to get the burger with bacon, cheese. This is going to be weird, but whatever. It is what it is. Cheese, bacon, steak sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Love A1 sauce on a burger. A little bit of mayo and some pickles, and I'm good to go.
Hey, that sounds good to me.
It's a really good burger.
So Beetlejuice, when it was first revealed, the community decided the sky was falling. He's been
Yep.
out for a minute now. He's been to a few events. Where do you stand on Beetlejuice? Is the sky still falling, or is he not the menace that everybody thought he would be?
I don't think that we have I don't think that we have begun to see what he's going to do. I think he's just now stepping his toes in a little bit. Um
Good way or bad way?
oh, I think it's all good.
Okay,
I am very pro Beetlejuice.
okay,
Because I feel like Beetlejuice and in the same way, in the same sense, Kong are figures that you could just go pick up off the shelf. Oh, they have an extra Beetlejuice Iconics here, and you just took somebody who spent $25 or $30, whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
and you just dramatically elevated the level of play that they could possibly achieve. And I love that. It's clearly meant to target again like these over teched, over tooled teams that I myself am guilty of playing. Uh, that it allows just more people to play HeroClix. That's what Beetlejuice does for me. Kong is the same way. Kong just allows more people to play HeroClix. And that's I'm for it. 100%. I'm for
Cool. Cats or dogs?
it. Dogs.
Okay.
I'll
That
send you a picture. My dog is named Bishop, and I love him. He is just turned a year old and is my whole world. I could not imagine life without him.
I have three bulldogs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of that event that we were just talking about where I met you.
Mhm.
Um, it was a good hour, 2 hours from my house where the event was, and shortly after the first round, my wife starts blowing up my phone because one of our bulldogs jumped off the bed or on the bed. Anyway, she landed wrong and really jacked up her hip, and she's freaking out.
Yikes.
She's trying to get the dog to the vet. The dog is crapping all over the back seat of the car, and I'm 2 hours away, and I paid for this event. I didn't want to leave. Um, and plus I'm already nervous anyway, and somehow you just had that calming presence that helped me get through the day. So I don't know. It was just a
Well,
funny
it sounds like you
anecdote.
got a lot going on, friend.
Yeah, but she's fine. She's actually in the other room snoring right now. But
Perfect. That's the best news of that story.
all right, so you're going to add one power to the PAC. What power are you adding and why?
If I were to add one power, what would I add in and why? Um, that's a really good question. I have not thought about that. If I were to add one power to the PAC and why? Um, I know that I would rework Earthbound. Just it WizKids has yet to decide what they want to do with Earthbound, just in general. It's whatever. Um, Friend, I have no idea.
How would you tweak
It's
Earthbound?
um, so it used to take away willpower.
Mm-hmm.
I think taking away willpower is an important thing. I think it needs to be a little bit more of a cost than what it is, because it just simply says what they can't use improved abilities now. Um, that's what it's been boiled down to. I feel like something that gives it just a little bit more. Oh my God, I got Earthbound. I gotta do X, Y, and Z. Because there are some characters nowadays that if they have Earthbound, oh well, right?
Right.
Mern doesn't care if he is Earthbound, right? But a few others, but yeah, as far as adding something to the pack, I don't know that I have a good answer for that, friend. I've never thought in those terms. I'm sorry.
That's fair enough. Who is the most famous person you've actually met?
Who is the most famous person I have actually met? Let's see. Uh, I met very briefly Barack Obama one time.
Oh wow, what's the story
It
with
was like
that?
a handshake and move on sort of thing.
Okay,
But beyond that, no. That would be the most famous person I've ever met.
that's cool. Um, Now I did miss you in November at the
I was
first.
not there.
Yeah, at the,
I was at a local's wedding this year.
so will you be at the second Red, White, and Clicks?
When is it?
It'll be in November, um, probably the weekend after Veterans Day. I forget the actual weekend number, but I try to make it around Veterans Day. So it'll be like
Sure,
the middle of November.
sure.
I'm still working on the details of everything because with Wiz Kids, man, I can't say, oh, I'm going to have this set available, but
Oh,
um,
100%. Right,
yeah, but
right. Well, I mean, they don't know. They don't know what's going to be available.
I've got
So, friend,
somebody
just
making
one.
cases to give away, and I'm going to have custom tokens, and I'm going to definitely buy a lot more prizing than I did last year. So putting a lot of work into it already. So hope to see you there.
100% transparency. So I work retail. I'm in sales. Specifically, I sell furniture. Um, and so taking off a weekend in November is very expensive.
Right.
And so it sounds like an awesome event. But I generally, unfortunately, because of the type of work that I do,
Mm-hmm.
I can only really go to 2 or 3 events a year. If I had a standard 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, I would be there, friend. I would be there. Uh, but sadly, it is sort of is what it is.
So you are a salesman at Rooms to Go,
Yes, sir.
and then what do you do at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center?
Oh, so that needs to be updated. I have not worked there in gosh, uh, 7 years, 8 years,
Oh wow.
longer. So I used to be the artist in residence there.
Okay.
So I would design like logos, slideshows, different marketing applications that the different startups at the center would need.
Okay. Yeah, I try to dig through people's profiles to find some unique, interesting information about them. And the last three people I talked to, their Facebooks are not up to date. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Well, I sell at Rooms to Go. That is up to date. Everything else, I don't know that I would. This
what is your favorite MCU movie so far?
mm, favorite MCU movie. Um, is Endgame the most popular answer? No Way Home the most popular answer?
I've had two or three say Endgame. Yep.
I mean, it's hard to the MCU's greatest advantage has always been its interconnectivity, um, and it's hard to beat the payoff that in-game provides.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just they pull it off. So I have to say in-game.
Good answer. Um, all right. So you've been given three wishes. I want to know what your second wish would be. Not the first, not the third, but the second wish.
Oh, um, second win. So I'm a Magneto fanboy. You may or may not know that, but I am a Magneto fanboy. I want Magneto's powers like in my soul. Like I would do it, friend. I would do it.
That's awesome.
uh, so that would probably be the second wish.
Um, what is a character that's been made in HeroClix several times, but they've never gotten the right flavor of the character?
Character that has been made in here like several times, but they've never gotten the right flavor. Um, I would say Morph.
Really?
Morph is high on that list. We've had several morphs,
Mm-hmm.
but we've never seen like if you look at like Morph in X-Men 97, which is probably his most powerful version, right? We've never seen anything near, here's Morph turning into the Hulk. Here's Morph turning into the Blob, right? We usually whenever we get a morph, it's a low point, maybe like an Outwitter with a super good shape change, and that's about it. So I would say that's usually what we get out of a morph figure. We've never seen really his and to a degree, Mystique also. Not neither one has I think really been given that, you know, I can completely change into this other person, and you have to deal with this now. Um, they've never been given that treatment.
Interesting. I like that answer. Um, what is your most used character? Not the figure, but the just overall character that you pull when you build a
Oh,
team.
Magneto,
Okay.
100%, easy peasy. Yeah, no, full stop. I think I've played a version of him every year for the past 8 years, 7 years. Uh, when did Uncanny X-Men come out?
Oh, that's before my time.
Yeah. It's been some time, but a while. Magneto's my boy. It's easy answer.
How do you feel about the Deadpool Wolverine version? The 100 point.
I played him at King of New Orleans,
Oh,
so I feel very positively about him.
do you think he deserves a more serious look now with the equipment heavy meta?
100%, 100%. He deserves a heavier look. And I I'm a big believer in that particular Magneto.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, what number am I thinking of?
13.
No, but you are one of the closest ones.
Oh, okay.
So there's a few of us in the community that have our own superhero alter egos. I have West Pool. Miles Kane has Aqua Miles. Ryan Redmond is Reb Gorn. What would be your imaginary superhero alter ego in the community?
Wesneto.
West
Let's do Wesneto.
I like that. Um, who is a HeroClix competitor that you've not faced that you would like to sit across from?
Not face, and that I would like to sit across from. Um, Antonio Clark, McConnell. I haven't sat across from McConnell. I don't think. Um, let's see. Who else that I haven't faced? I think I'm fairly active, so I think I've all the other names that I could think of. I've at least played once or twice. Yeah, everyone else I can think of, I've at least played a few times.
Cool. And who would you say is your favorite HeroClix content creator and why?
My favorite HeroClix content creator and why? Wes Robertson, duh.
I wish.
um, I like the unforgiving nature of Critical Clicks. It's very sort of rough and tumble, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Lucas has created some, and not just because he's my teammate, but I just genuinely think he has created some of the best HeroClix content out there. If you haven't seen his YouTube series on how to make a HeroClix team, he did a couple of little video essays about how to make a HeroClix team. It's really good stuff, and I highly recommend it. Um, yeah, we'll say Lucas.
All right. Well, Wes, that is all the questions that Kevin gave me. How does it feel to have survived the Kevin questionnaire and have the community in your head? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, it was rough, man, but I think I made it.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts for the community?
Um, I encourage you to, find a friend, find a buddy, someone who might be interested in learning how to play the game, and be the ambassador. The game isn't going to become as popular as it should be by us just sitting across the table from the same 4 or 5 people every week. We have to reach out, be ambassadors, and that also means, um, to borrow a phrase from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure,
Mm,
be excellent to one another.
yeah.
You have to you have to show the better parts of ourselves if we want to grow things and to make a difference. Be conscious of what you're doing on stream, because behavior in front of a camera makes a difference, right? People remember that, hey, you did that shiesty thing, or hey, you did this thing, or hey, that. They remember this. People have long memories, and that's okay. But I think that we grow by being the best version of ourselves. And I just encourage everyone to try to be the best version of themselves and show that to others by teaching them how to play HeroClix.
You heard from Wes himself. Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other.
uh, one other question I had for you, from one West to another. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when I go through drive-throughs, they started this thing where they want to know your name when you place your order.
Mm-hmm.
Starbucks,
Mm-hmm.
Culver's, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
They never get my name right. I have
What do you get?
I get Russell. Uh, my wife has a whole file in her phone of she snaps a picture every time. I got Russell a lot. Uh, God, Now, see, now I'm on the spot. I can't think of them. But I've gotten some wacky
Uh,
ones.
the the most common one that I get is people want to put a T on it,
Yeah.
West
Yep.
or Westly. That's the most common one. It's like I've never like I've met one Western like that. It's not a thing. It's not a thing, guys.
Well, technically, it started out with a T, and it just kind of dropped off over time.
It is what it is.
It started out West Meadows, and then it became Wesley. But yeah, man, they always write it on the cup or whatever. And my wife's like, "Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. Let's take a picture of that." And she's got this whole folder in her phone of all the weird Wesley versions getting the drive-through. So yeah,
Mm.
it's been fun.
It's a thing, man. It was a pleasure talking with you.
You
Thank you
too,
for having
Wes.
me on.
So thank you so much for
Um,
being here. I really hope to see you out there again, and thank you so much for being
I'll
an ambassador to
I'll
the
be out
game.
there. I'll be out there. Y'all have a good evening.
You too, buddy. Thanks a lot.